Hey guys, how you doing? This is Zari here. Thanks for checking out my video. Doing a bit of a different video than I normally do. Instead of just PvP montages in the Season of Discovery, I want to watch the Phase 3 preview at the same time as reacting to it and kind of giving you my insights, my knowledge, my information. I've played the game for the best part of 20 years. I'm not the best player. My logs are only hitting sort of 70 to mid 80s. But I like to think I come across from an angle that's a bit different instead of mega tryhards on 99 and 100s. Nothing wrong with that, but for more the casual players and their approach and what they can expect, and my thoughts on that basically, and how I think it's going to change the game coming into Phase 3. So without further ado, let's have a watch. I'm excited to see this.
Hi everyone, I'm Clay Stone, Associate Production Director of WoW Classic. Welcome to our Season of Discovery Phase 3 preview. As our team has shared in the past, we have been blown away by the reception to Season of Discovery, and we're so excited to share this sneak peek at what's ahead.
Jokes aside, we've been saying for ages, bring in essentially what a Classic Plus is, and you will get a lot of people interested in it. Turtle WoW had a huge following, huge base for a while, and Season of Discovery, now done it officially, you know, it's come soon.
Head with you. So with that, let's take a look at what we'll be covering today. We'll kick things off with raid information, then a preview of rune abilities, followed by our PvP updates, changes and additions being made to world events, a look at what's coming to professions, and close it out with a very important system update.
Sorry guys, if you can't see that,
which you're definitely going to want to stick around.
There you go.
Alright, so just like last time, some disclaimers. We're going to put the build up on PTR soon to check our era and hardcore realms. But like all the other phases, Phase 3 of Season of Discovery will not.
I don't know if people are still playing hardcore. Is that a thing?
Still, there will be
to
some
I
data
understand,
mining
even
that
with
occurs in
classic
advance of the
WoW,
launch.
it's
but as we've
pretty
been saying
reduced.
since the beginning of Season of Discovery, not everything data mined will actually be in the phase or future phases.
Other way, listen to this guy.
Beware.
Listen to this guy.
Conversely,
Blizzard are known for throwing a few red herrings.
Phase and beyond than we're going to talk about ahead of time, and we want your feedback. Everything we do across Classic continues to be a journey that is co-written by you, the players, and we can't wait to hear your thoughts on all of it. All right, so I'm sure it is a total surprise that absolutely no one saw coming that the Temple of Atal Hakar, aka Sunken Temple, will be our new and first 20-player
many moons ago. I think
this
when
raid
Phase 1
is
came out,
jam-packed with 8 bosses, tons of new items, including new item sets, new and revamped epic drops, and
if you guys know, the original Sunken Temple was an absolute bullshit maze, having to do so many small mini bosses to get to the final boss, having to summon certain bosses with certain, I think, quests or items in it, which is ball ache. Lore-wise though, it was brilliant. I won't go into it, but have a look at the lore and the story behind Sunken Temple. If you like the dragons and the trolls, full of it.
And up-leveled and rebalanced quest rewards. This is also when the level 50 class quests come online, which will provide a wide array of powerful items for each class. Jumping into a quick preview of a few of the bosses, the first boss in this raid is Atelarion, a massive berserker troll that acts as a bit of a janitor, cleaning up or potentially eating any person or thing that happens to fall down from the atrium above.
A little joke.
If the fall doesn't kill you, this guy definitely will. Next up, we have a brand new boss, the Festering Rot Slime. This engorged, gelatinous monster inexorably patrols one of the outer rings of the Sunken Temple, consuming any wandering adventurers hapless enough to cross its path. A bit further into the raid, we have Jamal On and Ogum, a priest and an undead avenger, utterly dedicated to seeing the blood god Hakar return to the mortal world. These two will keep you on your toes and have a few tricks up their sleeve to keep the fight interesting each time you encounter them.
If you know that boss in hardcore, it took a lot of people. I remember that boss room, 'cause it was full of trolls. Took a lot of people. I think they do a lot of fears. So I've seen many hardcore death videos that Asmongold's done, and it's taken away a lot of character lives, bless him.
Last boss in this preview is the mighty green dragon, Oranicus. Oranicus has been having a bit of a bad dream for the past few decades, and that dream is manifesting in our world in a variety of ways, which Nora will talk about in just a little bit. For those that make it to his lair, we can't recommend waking this big beast up, but if you do and are able to prevail, a lot of sweet loot will no doubt await you. Speaking of loot, here's a quick look at some of the awesome rewards you'll find inside the Sunken Temple. First up, we have a new take on the Drakestone item, with a new Shadow Arcane spell damage.
Very powerful.
Next up is a rather unique weapon. Yes, it's an axe gun. Shamans and paladins have felt left out for quite some time when it comes to having ranged weapons, and short of Egan's blaster, there's not much for them.
I don't know about that. We have a good few ranged abilities as the melee classes, Enhancement and Retribution. I have both of those maxed, and I don't struggle with a range aspect, but always to welcome it and see what the use is like. If we just go quickly back to it, fire that gun axe your target, dealing 122 to 158 fire damage, and additional over 7.5 damage a tick after that every second. Some call it the Gax. Brilliant. Don't know what you guys is. I mean, it's a nice little novelty item. I can't imagine it's useful, but let's see. They're bringing in 2 more handed items. I'm praying they give shamans 2-hand spec. Well, they do, but a stronger version of it, because the dual spec at the moment, the dual wield, too powerful.
Having ranged
absolutely
weapons,
too powerful.
And short
Have you seen?
Egan's
Have a look at my video.
There's not much for them.
Sure.
Now you too can have a gun that you can swing like an axe or shoot like a gun.
Gunblade
with a
little
cooldown.
Final Fantasy reference.
It's unfortunately a bit slow on the reload. Lastly, we have a quick look at our tier tokens. Similar to AQ40, we'll have 2 different tokens with several classes on each. We really like the token system in Novagon, but it sometimes felt a bit bad to be rolling against the entire raid whenever one dropped. So now we'll have 2 different tokens, and multiple will drop on each boss that can drop set tokens. And here's a quick look at some of the epic rewards. First off, we've got a glow up for the classic Embrace of the Serpent robe for healers. We've also updated the sword Dragon's Call. One cool thing about this weapon is that we've added several brand new glow effects for...
So, Dragon's Call originally was an epic one-handed sword that dropped in the dungeon for level 50, and its chance on hit was a dragon whelp would come and protect you, and I think 3 small ones would come protect you. You could dual wield them, so you could in theory have 6 of them, but that's it. It wasn't that great of a weapon. It was a very, very low drop by like 0.5%, so you never really saw it. But they've buffed it up a little bit, more damage, more attack power. Hopefully the whelps do a bit more damage. That'd be quite nice. As you probably can tell, I'm leaning more towards that melee stuff. I'm not a massive fan of spellcasters, but I can appreciate a good bit of cloth gear, so it's looking good as well.
And this is one of the first items to take advantage of having a very fancy, but still quite classic,
it's very HD, doesn't it?
And just like in previous raids, we've got several fun items lined up as well. The first item is the Atalai Blood Ceremony, which allows you and a friend or frenemy to play a deadly game where only one survives. This item is great for when you need to decide something, and a coin flip just won't cut it. The unorthodox...
You don't need to do, what's it called? The money betting thing that you can do. I always see people do it in Ironforge. Death rolling. Yeah, you just do the Atal's Blood Ceremony. That's all you need to do now. Put 50G on the line. Right. Whoever it kills, let's go. That could be quite fun. That could be very fun. Little guild tournaments.
Orthodox Hex Stick allows you to embrace your inner critter and transform into a disgusting little creepy crawler to dazzle and disgust your friends. These are just a few examples.
Yeah,
and there are several cool things coming with this patch.
The Merigan ones are really good. I use the World Traveler one every time on cooldown.
Lastly, one bit of feedback we took to heart this patch was that a lot of updated quest rewards for previous level up raids could feel a bit underwhelming. So for Sunken Temple, we've actually gone a step further and helped rebalance and restat many of the existing quest rewards.
I bloody hope so.
The first example here is a Vanguard Helm. And you can see we've made it a bit more attractive to the classes that can use it.
It's a little
and
bit.
Helm of Exile as well.
Helm of Exile, because Helm of Exile was a epic buy non-equip, but it had spirit, agility, strength on it. It was a bit of a weird combo. But as we know from Classic WoW back in the day, stats weren't very well sort of researched, so you didn't know if you needed it or not. I feel like it's missing. Even they've got it right in Black Fathom Depth. You look at the road gear plus attack power onto it, as well as agility and stamina. I feel like the little green text at the bottom just makes gear so much better. If they had on top of those plus 1% chance to hit or something, I feel like they would just shout a lot better. But if they're quest gear, I imagine they don't want everyone having access to it, so I get that too.
Quest reward. We have also carried forward some of the work we did updating dungeon drops in the previous phase, and revamped even more dungeon drop rewards, including Princess Theradras's Scepter. And with that,
two-handed
we'll turn it
mace
over to Matt
from the
to give
final
us a
boss
preview
of Maraudon. That mace wasn't very good. I think it had a chance to like asunder a quip or a lower their damage or something like that. But I was glad that they've have a look at that, added some attack power onto it. The weapon speed isn't really going to be a thing for druids, but for everyone else, 200 maces, 90 armor, strength, that's going to be brilliant for paladins. 46 as well, that's going to be strong. But actually, the epic sword is more damage than that, so okay, maybe just one for people leveling up and don't want access to it, but not bad at all.
Driss's Scepter, one of the new abilities you'll get access to.
Hey folks,
Runes.
I'm Matt Everett,
Let's
Senior
go.
Engineer on the Classic team.
Yes.
I'll go over some of the new runes you might find in Phase 3.
This is where
Before
we're
that,
at.
I want to
Boom.
note
Let's
that
go.
we heard your feedback that a lot of runes last phase weren't accessible until level 40. We've tried to balance Phase 3, so you'll
That's
find more
incorrect.
runes
You
while
get
leveling.
loads of runes while
You'll still
leveling.
have some to look
I've got
forward
most
to.
of my paladin ones by
Let's look at
35,
druids
36.
first. Gore gives you a chance to reset some key feral cooldowns and
Okay.
generate some rage. And Improved Bark Skin gives you all the benefits of Bark Skin without the drawbacks, and you can cast it on your friends.
Right, what that looks like is it took Blizzard 2 phases, but they finally listened that feral tanking druids need more love. The amount of posts on Reddit I saw, including myself, I was guilty doing it too, but I mained a druid in phase 1, a feral druid, and wanted the opportunity to tank with him as well. Couldn't. It was absolutely redundant. Phase 2 was probably a little bit easier, but it looks as though they're finally allowing a bit of that, tanking to be available as a druid. So, okay, they listened, which is good, finally.
With Lock and Load, your traps grant you a free shot with no cooldown. This could be a great 1-2 punch with something like double Chimera Shot.
No, that's not a good 1-2 punch or Chimera Shot. Lock and Load was an ability in Wrath of the Lich King or Burning Crusade, whereas your auto shots had a 3% chance to trigger a instant, no mana, no cooldown shot of arcane aim shot. So it used to be really, really powerful, and obviously they changed that a bit to triggering your traps. Definitely feels more PvP because you can't really get bosses to trigger your traps. Doing 2 Chimera Shots doesn't really work because you rely on Serpent Sting doing a lot of damage and proccing it at the end of Serpent Sting. So doing 2 shots of that is pretty useless. You're better off doing multi-shot times 2 or an aim shot into a frost trap into another aim shot. But it is what it is.
Focus Fire lets your pet build up Frenzy, which increases its attack speed. You can
Bit of love there to Beast Mastery, as if they weren't buffed enough already, but that's quite good. I mean, you can see that they're P3, they're leaning more towards
consume your pet's
Beast
frenzy,
Mastery
boosting
hunters,
your
so
attack speed and granting your pet focus.
not bad.
Next up are mages. Deep Freeze is a powerful 5-second stun on a frozen target. If the target's immune to stuns, take
Yeah,
significant
PvP and
damage
PvE
instead.
usage, lovely.
Balefire Bolt
Strong.
lets you live on the edge of risk and reward, dealing heavy damage but decreasing your spirit. If you
Have a read too. Each time you cast Balefire Bolt, the damage your next Balefire Bolt within 30 seconds will be decreased by 10%, and your spirit is decreased by 10 seconds. Both stacking up 10 times. Which is 0 as a consequence. Okay, that's cool. A bit of roleplay into it. All your spirit's gone, you die. That's quite cool. I've got to look
reach
at that.
0 spirit, you die. And by the way, if you're leveling a
Shabby.
new mage, you might find this rune earlier than you expect.
Okay.
Paladins. Improved Sanctuary
That's
makes
good.
you even tankier, increasing Sanctuary's
Yes.
damage block and damage dealt back
Prop
to attackers.
more viable. Let's
Wrath
go.
lets you crit with Consecration and applies
Ooh.
your melee crit chance to your Holy Shock, Holy Wrath, and Exorcism spells.
Oh, amazing.
Let's look at Priest.
Amazing. Crits are a
Pain
great
and
stat for
Suffering
paladins
allows
already.
Your Mind Flay ability to refresh the duration of Shadowward Pain.
I don't know how
While
good that
Surge
is
of
because I don't really
Light
play
causes your
Priest.
crits
Sorry.
Make your next Smite or Flash Heal instant cast.
I imagine that's good.
Rogues.
That's all I can
Honor
say.
Among
Sorry,
Thieves is
Priest.
incredibly powerful, granting you a combo point each time a party member scores a crit.
Okay.
It does have a short cooldown, but you'll be swimming in combo points.
Okay. I was just about to say. So they released that Honor Among Thieves in a talent in Burning Crusade, and it didn't have a cooldown. And what you would do is in a raid in Black Temple, you'd put 5 rogues in one group, and they would just basically have constantly 5 combo points and just smashing it out, and they had to patch it because it was too powerful. Same with like Raze and Arctic Valley, they were doing the same thing. So yeah, I think they highlighted that on purpose because they know of the issues they had when they first brought that out. But very welcome ability. I'm very much looking forward to getting out my rogue, who I'm leveling right now, ahead of hopefully in time for P3. And cut to the chase.
Cut to the chase makes it easier to keep Slice and Dice up by allowing Eviscerate and Envenom to refresh it back to its max duration.
Perfect.
Next up
Useful.
is Shaman.
Just means you save combo points there instead of reapplying Slice and Dice. You can juggle it and keep it up, right?
When you deal melee damage, mental dexterity applies your intellect to your attack power, and then applies 30% of your attack power to your spells. Riptide is...
Right, so mental dexterity, I read about this a little bit before. There is someone who's done some calculations already. And then if you get that level 40 with current gear with 2 locks of Rot Biter, you will have over 2,000 attack power, and I think it was about 400 to 600 spell power. That's more than spellcasters. That's going to be very powerful, and I can imagine they're going to nerf that almost immediately. So shamans, if you're going to make a quick video, i.e. myself, you're going to get that very quickly, smash it out before they nerf it. And Riptide, oh my god, brilliant. What an ability.
An amount, and then heals for a similar amount over time.
That's been needed. That's been needed.
It gets consumed.
Shaman heals haven't been the greatest.
Warlocks.
But they are good.
Pandemic makes damage over time spells even more overwhelming by letting them crit. With this rune, you can summon the iconic Fell Guards to supplement
your periodic damages can now be crits. Fuck. That's going to be... Warlocks are a dick already to fight in PvP if you catch them. So that's going to hurt. Fell Guard, brilliant. Yep, looking forward to how that works. The abilities they bring as well. That could be quite cool.
Stable of demon pets.
Mix up a little bit, right?
Is a powerful melee damage dealer capable of both tanking and dealing out serious punishment. He's not the only new demon you can summon this phase, but I'll let you discover that on your own.
Nice. Keep a little bit in. Love that.
With Taste for Blood, your rend damage lets you use Overpower once per 6 seconds.
One of my favourite warrior abilities. Oh my god, even better.
To reset Shield Slam's cooldown.
Sword and Board tanks in Wrath of the Lich King, early patch of it. Insanely good. You would do more damage in any of your DPS when I did Wrath of the Lich King Classic and back in the day. So strong.
And make it cost no
brilliant.
Range. This time
my warrior's looking
get
attractive.
A bonus rune. The much requested Gladiator stance lets you live that Sword and Shield Gladiator fantasy.
Love it. Love it.
This increases your damage when wearing a shield, as well as letting you use abilities from other stances at the cost of survivability. Okay. This is one we've really been looking forward to bringing to the season, and we can't wait to see what warriors are able to do with it.
So
I love watching players work together to find all the new runes each phase, and I'm looking forward to this one. Up next, Nora will join us to talk about PvP updates.
Nice.
Hey, thanks, Matt. My name's Nora Valletta, and I'm a lead software engineer on WoW Classic. I'm here to talk about some of the other updates we've got coming in Phase 3, starting with PvP. One of the things we've learned from previous phases is that PvP can be a bit rough when the only thing available is PvE gear that is generally set up with output stats rather than survivability stats. As a result...
I don't know about that. Like, I purposely wear the shoulders and BFD because they have a bunch of stamina with only a little bit DPS loss. I think you kind of optimize it to how you want to. And if everyone is having output gear as opposed to defensive gear, then you're all in the same boat to a degree. I didn't like resilience in Burning Crusade, but I mean, to do something similar, it is what it is.
PvP set
okay.
Ranks 5 through 7 to equip and earn. This is similar to the rank 10 and rank 13 PvP sets in that it's a full 6-piece set with appropriate PvP set bonuses.
Hopefully.
There will also be a starter set available from a new faction called the Emerald War.
Nice, we need a new faction.
We'll go into more detail on that later on.
Traders, whatever they're called,
Here's a quick look at a few of the new PvP set items. You'll notice that they are a bit more specialized and focused than the previous level 60 PvP sets were.
Okay, so they're relevant only to the classes. I'm hoping then they have like a second one for a Druid for DPS, but they have that in Arathi Basin. That's 20 years ago, so they should be something similar.
We're also making
that could work quite nicely.
To the Blood Moon event, including adding brand new
nice, unique looks. I think one of the things I love most about Classic is if you saw a hunter come up to you in that PvP gear, you knew that they were good at PvP because of the ranks they had to get to, and that was only a hunter set. So yeah, looking forward to that.
We'll also be adding a new currency for the level 50 rewards called Massacre Coins,
which
you'll earn when killing higher level
players. I'm not sure how I feel about Blood Moon staying in the
same
relevant
commendations that are currently available from the Blood Coin vendor. Any existing commendations that you have will still function after the patch, but don't hold on to them forever. They will expire after 2 weeks. We think it's okay.
So I'm planning on getting my rogue the troll mount from STV. Barney Beekeeper made Undead Rogues cool with a troll mount. It's what I've wanted for a little while, but annoyingly, that's going to make that more difficult. I'm not a fan of the Blood Moon in Stranglethorn Vale. Like it was needed for a couple of bits. Never want to do it again. but it's a shame they're making it and keeping it consistent. But
hey, if you're able to bank these now to give
fun
you a bit of a
sometimes.
leg up on PvP ranking at the start of the next phase, but we don't necessarily want you to be able to hoard enough coins to get you all the way up to rank 14 later on when that rank becomes available. We'll have a new PvP honor consumable token for level 50 as well, purchasable with
keeps
the
it
new
level
currencies.
for everyone, level
and
filled.
how about some gear? Here are a few of the new items available via the Blood Moon event in Phase 3. Do note that the Headhunter's Barbed Spear is a warrior-only weapon. We also realize that ranged hunters may have felt a bit left out last time, so we've gone ahead.
I hate non-range hunters, not because they're powerful, because it doesn't sit with the roleplay of a hunter, right? Being melee and up front, you're not a rogue, you're not a warrior, you're not a paladin. Like, chill, get back. I mean, you need a lot more range in P2, I think, for bosses. So, yeah, I'm glad they're giving a bit of love to that, and people will start rolling back to range. Don't know if you saw that. The barbed spear holds the spear at a target immobilized for 5 seconds. That could be useful. That followed by a charge if they trinket out of it or something like that. That could be good. You've got the Libram with Draconic Destruction. Bollocks. That is rubbish. I mean, it's good for a couple of bosses, but the rest of them, this is Blood Moon stuff. This is PvP. Why are you giving me a PvE trinket in PvP? And you've got the Corrupted Smashbringer. Just give me the Ashbringer, man. Stop trying to tease me. Stop teasing me with this.
So, Phase 3 of Season of Discovery will soon be upon us, and with it comes new loot, new opportunities to gain experience, and new adventure. Let's take a quick look at our new PvE world event called Nightmare Incursions.
Nice.
Picture, if you will, the 4 emerald portals scattered across Azeroth. At this point in history, the dragons of Nightmare, Terrar, Ysandra, Emerus, and Lethan have not yet arrived to spread their terror. However, as you approach each portal, you can't help but sense hidden danger. Something's not quite right. Those brave enough to enter an emerald portal will be plunged into a realm seeping with corruption and overrun with dragons, treants, and other poor souls.
Scarab Lord
driven mad by
2.0.
corruption.
If
But
you've done
beware,
that chest,
not all foes are
quest chain
alike.
before.
Some enemies can be defeated by a single seasoned adventurer, while others are perhaps too powerful to be faced alone. Nightmare Incursions offer repeatable PvE content for levels 25 through 50. To check it out, simply enter one of the 4
Okay, that could be cool. Those dream portals, you've got one in Ashen Vale, you've got one in Hinterlands. Where was the other one? You had a couple throughout. I can't remember the top of my head. Feralis was another one, and then you had a 4th in. Is it Winter Spring? I could be wrong with that. Don't shoot me. But 4 great areas to do these quests in. I remember seeing them back 20 years ago when I made my first ever character, going near them and seeing the groups of skull-marked Dragonkin elites surrounding it. You genuinely had like a fear, like, oh crap, if I get too close, they're going to fuck me up. But it's only ever used really for the Scarab Lord quest chain, for the low drop chance items that they needed. It wasn't the Draconic for Dummies, it was something before. But I'm so glad they're reusing those, because those are really cool areas of zones that you were scared to go to that you can now go to and make use of. Like, just being smart with it. And I hope they start doing that with some of the other locations in the game that just, in Classic WoW, that just aren't there and not accessible. Like Greymane's Wall, just in South Silverpine. Use below that. There's so much space.
Portals located in Duskwood, Ashen Vale.
Duskwood, there you go. Last one. Damn it.
This is a great new opportunity to
That's going to annoy me now.
And those who choose to jump in and fight the corruption will have the chance to earn reputation with an all-new faction called the Emerald Wardens. With great danger comes great rewards. The Emerald Wardens will be very grateful for your help and will be offering a selection of choice new items to sweeten the deal.
It's going to be
One of
PvP
the
carnage
cool
if you're on
things about
PvP
Nightmare
servers and they
Incursions
enable
is
it
that
there.
we plan to include some rewards at different player levels, as there will be content available for players roughly level 20 all the way to 50 across all 4 Nightmare portals.
Nice.
The first example is this Nightmare Siphon Trinket, which could be really fun for low-level alts. For level 50, we have the...
Yeah, 150 manager, have to kill target. Okay, that's... Okay, cool. keeps you going, especially with warriors. Oh my god, warriors can really use that.
Roar of the Dream, a somewhat unique ring that has a sizable spell damage proc on it.
Yeah, that's useful.
Lastly, we also plan to take a page from the Burning Crusade playbook and make a level 50 PvP set available at Honored with the new Emerald Wardens faction.
Love that.
This
Love
set
that.
isn't as powerful as some of the other PvP
Let's just
item
hope
rewards we plan
that
to
we're
add
good at
this phase,
PvP
but
on my
it's a good
server,
stepping
'cause
stone
the
into
Horde
the
are
better
useless.
items later on. With the launch of Phase 3 comes a host of interesting new updates to professions. Continuing on from the first two phases, we'll be introducing a new quest chain to give players access to new nightmare armaments, crafting recipes, as well as some fun things for engineering,
Reusable
enchanting,
flasks.
and alchemy.
Okay.
We've also learned a few lessons from the previous phase of professions, so the cost to access the recipes will be essentially free in terms of raw gold, and the cost of the recipes that Ziri offers and Nomargon are going to be decreased as well. In case you want to buy additional recipes for completion, or you have an alt that wants to snag the recipes for themselves, we think gold sinks are important and are going to explore different ways later on to do
100%.
that are not so directly on the critical path of gear progression. Here's
Joke. They had a good idea with once you get max level, you do the quest, you can make a lot more gold. There's incentivization to carry on doing some quests and stuff, which is great. But they just made everything give so much more gold than it needed to. Like, a quest will give you 2 gold, and if you just do one zone, you've made about 30 gold. You could do. It was just too much. I think where they increased it by like 300%, and they're like, oh no, we need to bring in gold things because people have got too much money. 300% is a bit overkill. Like, halve it gives you 150% or 100% more. But at least it incentivizes, I'm getting a little bit more gold for that. I would still carry on doing those quests. Just means your money has more value. 300% more is
Here's a
it's
quick
just
look
stupid.
at a few of the crafted items you can make this
Cost of
phase.
greens at the moment on my
There
server,
are many more across
living
various
flame EU is
professions and for
fucking
various
ridiculous.
specs and roles. As you can see, some of these items offer interesting new on-equipped effects which are applied while you're under the influence of the nightmare.
They could
If
be
you
good. Those could be. Look at those. Yeah. Immunity sphere 15 seconds. Leather wrists. Don't need it if you're a undead rogue like me. Love it. Cloth. I'll be honest with you. Again, not a G. Let me just move this so you can have a quick read. Oh, wrong one. Yeah. Damaging spells has a chance to increase spell damage 5%. Okay, dodge not bad. Unless against you against the warrior, then you get absolutely screwed over with overpower. The mail's quite good. That's going to be literally elemental
If you
shamans.
prefer to stay
Useful.
nightmare free, we've got some cool new items such as the void powered Slayer's Vambraces, which can grant you immunity to fear for 15 seconds. We do plan to allow you to pick up specializations this phase, as well as allow you to level to 300 in each profession. Additionally, we've added a few new surprises here. For example,
300
we are
already
adding a quest
at
to
level
allow you to
50.
get additional potion, elixir, and flask
Which makes
packs
sense.
when crafting those types of consumables. You'll also
Journeyman
have to do a little bit
arts
of
there,
legwork
expert
to
artisan.
unlock these things, but the benefits should be
Buffets.
well worth it. The lion's share of our new toys involving professions specs will be coming after level 60, and we have some very cool things planned there to allow.
They definitely need to balance out, because engineering was this in Classic WoW for every melee DPS. So I'm hoping that they even it out, that everything can. Like, they have done a really good job so far. So essentially, if you listen to this,
How
continue.
you to make the most of your
But
profession.
I feel like
Well,
the spec
that was a
stuff
lot
with
of
gobbling
updates.
and gnomish
I
engineering,
hope I didn't
very
forget
different
anything.
tangents.
Josh, I'm not forgetting anything, am I?
Now that you mention it, Nora, there is one small system
Big
update
gang.
you might have missed. But first, hi, I'm Josh Greenfield, senior game producer on WoW Classic. So there is one small system change coming, and honestly, the update is so minor we almost didn't mention it, because we didn't think anyone would really care, but since we're all previewing things, we figured we might as well. So, in 1.15.2 Phase 3, you may happen upon a dashing dwarf from a faraway land.
This is
that
it.
has one
This
very
is what
special
I
talent
have been
that wants to
asking
share
for
with you
since
for a
phase
small
1
fee, of course.
in every guild
Actually,
chat.
to be a little bit
Oh, I
more
wish they'd
specific,
bring in dual spec.
there's 2 sets of special talent.
If you don't know what dual spec is, what rock you've been living under, but it came out in Wrath of the Lich King, it allowed you to have 2 specializations that you can change between. So if you like DPSing but you tank for raids, boom, perfect. They allow you to do that without having to keep going back and changing and spending money on respecking.
Else to share.
Brilliant.
I said,
Oh my God,
we
I'm
were
so happy
pretty
that's a
sure
thing.
This wouldn't be a big deal to most players. We probably should have just left it out of the presentation entirely. So,
Yeah, give me that
with
wink, bad
we're
boy.
approaching the home stretch, but we've got a
I
ton
felt
more
that.
to
I
discuss,
felt that wink.
and we want to take some time to cover a few other miscellaneous topics, commonly asked questions, as well as a quick look at how things will start to shape up at level 60. So let's jump right into it. So the first topic here is world buffs. As with the previous phases, we'll continue to allow you to use the previous world buff
standard
up through the current max level. The new raid, Sunken Temple, will also include a new world buff. We'll also be making some rather powerful consumables available for exchange on a certain NPC using materials.
I hope they don't make world buffs the meta.
These are spiritually similar to the Zanza elixirs that you could obtain by exchanging items found in Zul'Gurub. They're quite powerful, so you'll definitely want to bring them with you to the raid when you can. Also, as with previous phases, we did want to clarify.
You bring the player. I've always thought. Especially in a 20-man raid, that's what, if half the people don't come with world buffs, is it not going to be doable? Like, it does worry me a little bit. You know, classic WoW was doable with the right gear without world buffs, but it heavily relied on the world buff meta, and I didn't like it. I really don't like it, but let's see.
That bankable, repeatable turn-in items will not function to allow you to level quickly from 40 to 50. We really love the preparation aspects of original WoW, and things like pre-questing are great. But being able to bank hundreds or even thousands of repeatable quest turn-in items to get multiple levels right when the phase begins is not going to be supported in this or any phase going forward.
Nice.
To be clear, this includes things like Marks of Honor, Wastewander water pouches, and the troll necklaces from the hedgehog.
I think they did the same thing in going into phase 2, so I'm glad that they're keeping it consistent.
How tricky it can be to balance the level up journey and the outdoor world, but to also encourage players to play multiple characters. It's tricky to manage, especially against a seasonal backdrop where the content phases are relatively short by World of Warcraft standards. To help out with this a bit, we introduced
9 days notice since they released this and the phase 3 is coming out. They gave us 2 weeks, I think, for phase 1 into phase 2. So I'm a bit, me. To be honest with you, I was a bit like, I don't feel like phase 2's done, but
at the midpoint of phase 2.
There's a lot of you telling me to shut up, I get it.
It didn't really help to reduce the fatigue that came with leveling your first main character. By way of a compromise, in phase 3, you will earn 50% additional XP from all sources from levels 40 to 49, and this will be active right when phase 3 goes live. This is just to give a slight nudge right away. It will still be a sizable number of hours to hit 50, but this will help move...
I heard this from a mate that I was playing with today, that they're bringing in an XP boost immediately. I initially was like, nah, bollocks, that's stupid. Why are they doing that? Like, enjoy the process. Leveling is very fun to do. It's a part of Classic that, getting to level 60 will take you a month. But, actually, 40 to 49 with how short these phases can be, clearly... 50% I think is reasonable. I think any more than that is a piss take. I hope that you could use some of your fodder, student fodder, and the sleeping bag would be fun to keep using.
Note that the 100% buff from 1 through 39 will remain in place as well. Overall, we think these buffs are a decent solution, but they aren't what we consider to be ideal.
If everything's getting buffed on the XP, why don't you just reduce the numbers of the XP that's required? Why do you need to add the buff into it? Isn't it just a lazy way of doing it? Can't you just go... We've got half the XP needed per level. Enjoy. It's not bad, is it?
We're going to carry a lot of what we learned forward if we do something like this again, and maybe look at other adjustments we can make to help smooth the leveling curve.
That means the quest number, XP, and hand-ins will just stay the same. You don't have to worry about making sure they all get doubled. I think it might be easier in the long run.
Additionally, as with Black Fathom Beast before, Nomergon will give a sizable amount of XP
for
each boss.
We did a sub 40, a 35-minute run the other day, so nice way to start off the new
token, we see Nightmare
phase
as a good, quick way to get a good chunk of XP if you find yourself wanting a change of pace from your normal leveling routine. There's a lot of repeatable content that gives experience there.
Nice.
As for the raid release and lockout schedule, we've been thinking a lot about this, and we've decided to shift some
1 week lockout.
Lockout.
Day 1 of phase 3, like Noma.
Right at the release
very generous with drops.
Kind of similar to what we did with Noma phase 2. Players will have 5 full days.
Go back. I think this is good. I think this is better than what we have at the moment. And I think that's because with the additional drop rate that's going to be coming in on items and dropping more items, I think it suits people a lot better. I think because it's a 20-man raid, there's a lot of organisation for 20-mans. Going from 10 to 20 is going to be a big difference. I've done 40s a lot of the time and going to 20s. 20s still require a bit of input. Make sure you get the right setup. where you needed to get 5 ranged and 5 melee, or 6 ranged and 4 melee for Nomuragon for certain bosses, sometimes that's been a dick to do. So getting 20-man raids, I think the 1 week lockouts are great, with more gear coming from it. I mean, I'm 31, you know, there's a lot of dads playing it, Wild of Dadcraft, Season of Dad Discovery, I think they were calling it. I think this fits a lot of people's real life scenarios a lot better, with more chance of getting that gear. You're very lucky if you don't get it, but if they're 20-man raids, always dropped more than 10-mans. 40s always dropped a lot more than 20s, and if they didn't get an increase on the 20s, I'm expecting a similar sort of algorithm they had with the 40-man raids, and the numbers of drops for the 20-mans. So I can imagine people are going to be getting stuff quite quickly.
Kind of similar to what we did with Nomuragon.
Just a thought process.
Players will have
I
5
could be very
full
wrong.
days to hit level 50 if you want to try and get in a raid during that first lockout, and then the raid will work like any other weekly lockout, resetting on Tuesday or your normal regional lockout day. We decided to make this swap for a few reasons. First, we've gotten feedback from players saying they would like to have a bit more consistency with their raid schedule, and with the raid size going up to 20 players in this phase, being able to plan long term is even more important.
Yeah.
We'll also talk about this a little bit more in the next few slides, but we're also thinking ahead to what the raiding landscape will look like once we hit level 60. That also informs this decision. Lastly, on this topic,
go there, get us ready for that. They told us Molten Core is going to be 20-man already, so prep us.
That's a good segue to talk about level 60 in.
Oh.
Since we're getting close to 60, we think it makes sense to dig into a few more details of what you can expect starting with Phase 4. This preview is very, very early and in no way comprehensive, but it's just meant to be a minor sneak peek at some things we have cooking. Again, to stress that much of what you will see here is still very much in development, and some specifics could and likely will change. This is more of a look at our general thought process, rather than the actual set-in-stone plans we have. As we alluded to a few slides ago, we plan to standardize raid lockouts from level 50 and beyond to a weekly reset. This includes things like Zul'Farab, Ruins of Anchorage, and Onyxia's Lair. We also want to ensure with our itemization updates, many of the items, even in early raids, remain relevant.
Black Rock Spire is not getting a lockout. Cool.
Ultimately, this is a very
love Upper Black Rock Spire. For me, one of the best dungeons of all of WoW. Top 3. Okay, top 3.
Gladiator chain remained good for several tiers, and we want to carry this forward. With this in mind, however, we know you will likely want to run several different raids a week, but we want to avoid a situation where logistics gets messy because you have to contend with a large number of irregular, unwieldy raid lock timers. By the time Blackwing Lair is out, for example, there's going to be a large menu of relevant things to do at level 60, and being able to plan and schedule activities on a predictable cadence is going to be very important. Last quick note on this, while Upper Blackrock Spire is technically a 10-player raid, it's never had a lockout, and that will remain true. It's essentially a 10-player dungeon, and will remain.
You could make it a daily one, couldn't you, in theory?
Another very frequently asked question we received is, what about weapon skill racial bonuses? From the start, we've suggested that you shouldn't need to worry too much about things like orc and human weapon skills long term.
They said that, and then still introduced them, and then being a big DPS increase or notice on rankings with orcs using the two-handed axe, or with humans using the two-handed sword. So, you say that, but you then did it.
And that you should feel good about choosing whatever race you want, based on their aesthetics or other bonuses that race gets apart from weapon skill bonus. Every phase, we get asked for a status update on this, and we just wanted to confirm that yes, the solution is coming at level 60. At level 60, you'll be able to discover a method to essentially swap in and out up to 2 weapon skill bonuses for your character. So, for example,
let me read that again. You can deliver a method to gain
up to 2 weapon skill bonuses for your character.
I just put points in my rogue.
If I were a Troll Fury warrior and I had a mace and a dagger, I could swap my passive bonuses to +5 maces and +5 daggers. Please note that these weapon skill bonuses do not stack with each other or with a certain race's normal passive weapon skill bonus. So in the same scenario, if I were a human warrior, I already get +5 maces for my racial skill. So instead, I might want to use +5 bows and +5 daggers, so that maybe my bow skill had a better chance to hit if I was pulling higher level.
That's still quite overpowered. Am I just looking at that and going, so orcs and humans are getting additional weapon skills which you're using for hit, which is priority stat for every DPS and tanking class. Am I just thinking that's massively overpowered for them?
Racial skills, however, these passives will stack with any weapon skill you gain from items, such as Obsidian Edge Blade or Maladath Ruined Blade of the Black Flight. These unlockable passives will be available right at level 60 And while there will be a short discovery to unlock them, everyone who wants them will have access to them early on. Continuing that line of thought, yes, priests will also be able to unlock other races' unique priest spells as well, such as Devouring Plague and Fear War. We don't want to spoil how this will work just yet, but just like
everyone's
skills,
going to pick the
we do
dwarf
get asked
one.
about this a lot and wanted to confirm.
I think
that
it's the
this
dwarf one,
also
isn't it? The
coming would be
fear ward.
early on at level 60. There will also be discoveries tied to accessing
Oh,
these
mate.
spells as well. So, this is the last big item in our level 60 preview, and we think it's the most impactful, as items are obviously going to be a major focus of the new level 60 game. We're essentially totally revamping tier sets to add multiple variants for different specs and roles that each class can fill. We don't necessarily intend...
What could be quite good is what they did, I think, in Cateron, or BFA, I think, where different icons, different idols for different race classes, like multiple classes on one, and then you right click for your spec, and because you have dual spec, you'll be able to pick that up. But I don't know, I think they might think it's too far ahead in the retail game to bring into this.
Niche playstyle in every raid tier, as some classes could end up with upwards of 5 to 7 sets every few months. But we do want to try and cover a lot of the major roles, as well as some new playstyles we've added to different classes, so that most unique roles each class has access to get something cool at some point during their level 60 journey. Additionally, we plan to revamp many existing non-set dungeon and raid items at level 60, as well as adding new best-in-slot or nearly best-in-slot crafting options at 60.
So many... Classic itemization was pants, and a lot will tell you the same. You know, a lot of the tier sets would only benefit one spec, and where you have classes like I play both, the Shaman and the Paladin, which are a hybrid, you were kind of pushed into one. Oh, I've got a Druid as well, which is hybrid. Makes sense. You know, you were pushed. The Druid sets were for balance and for healers and restorators. So you had to get the leather sets and take them from other leather users, the DPS sets, and it would just piss everyone off. 40-man raid, a bit of leather drops. You've got warriors, rogues, and druids going for it, and if you're alliance, probably some of the paladins too. So it wasn't ideal.
There's a lot of fun and interesting things we can do with the level 60 professions and profession specialization crafts, and we plan to expand on those to keep crafting more relevant for a longer period of time. Lastly,
that'd be good. I'm looking forward to that optimization.
Will be easier and more flexible, but will likely have a cost associated with doing so. We're still ironing out the final design for what this will look like, but if you're familiar with how this worked in Burning Crusade, that might be a good starting point to inform how this might work. Finally, here's a few quick examples of what potential new tier sets could look like. These are very much not finalized, so any of the stats or set bonuses could and probably will change.
Have a look at that. Okay, cool. The rogue ones, if it's rogue, why do you have to have a chance to hit with all spells and attacks? Parry's cool. That's could definitely be PvP, or if you're tanking. Holy damage, cool. And then you've got increased damage and hitting devil magic. Okay, cool. That's definitely balanced size. But look at these, man. These are good. Duration of Swarm. Bonus of the Crusader. Of Judgment of the Crusader. Instead of putting the advantage now, guys, putting the damage. This is... What the fuck is this? Instead of putting the rogue into stealth, vanish now grants 9% managed damage reduction. No! Never do that.
So first off, you'll notice we've got...
You must be able to turn that off, because that set could be really good, let's say.
We've also got a shock at
that makes sense. Really it's a PvE set for tanking. You don't even need to use Vanish. 5% magic damage reduction for bosses. Right, okay. Yeah, that just clicked.
Again, these are
Vanish is too good to get rid of.
Draft versions of some of these items.
Okay,
we think being able to make
I'm getting hyped up or pissed off more about something that's very early in construction.
So with that, we're done with today's presentation. Thank you for bearing with us on this one, as it was a long one. We've had a blast on this wild season of Discovery journey with you so far, and we honestly can't wait to get Phase 3 into your hands, as well as provide a bit more information on Phase 4 as we start getting a little bit closer to that. As always, we want to express a heartfelt thanks from the WoW Classic development team. Thank you for playing with us. Thank you for the feedback, and thank you for the participation in helping us develop this season. We'll see you again when Season of Discovery Phase 3 goes live shortly.
Good lad.
Thank you again.
Wow, I don't know about you guys, but a lot of that's looking really strong. There's a couple of rooms there that I'm really looking forward to. Obviously, they said a lot is going to be red herrings in the data mining community. If you know what that means, it's probably a false trail or something they might be doing but not bringing into game. And they've done that for years, throwing in little curveballs. Classic WoW back in the day, 20 years ago, you know, amount that you could get in STV from a certain vendor. Need I say more? Could never get it. Ashbringer. People will talk about data miners in the game, not the corrupted, the actual Ashbringer. People was fishing for hours. Nat Pagel's fishing guide, because apparently he mentioned something about the Ashbringer. People will follow any trail. So, you know, don't take it all, but take it with a pinch of salt. Gale wins, increase the damage. This is the druid ones here that I've come across. This is fairly new, so let's see what they could do. And they've got a couple of them. Bright Alert, improved back skin, and Gore. Bat skin you can use on other people as well, which is great. Increased damage by Hurricane, that could be cool. Helm and wrists are the 2 slots, in case they didn't cover it in the last video. I'm pretty sure they did, but naturally they'll bring some more to cover the main sets that we have already, just like they did in P2, new chest ones and stuff. Efflorescence. Swiftman now causes efflorescence healing all party members in 15 yards, cool. For their strength to the tank and the melee around him, and improved frenzy regeneration. Energy, into energy as well, cool. Focus fire, we read up about already. TNT, damage of all your traps and explosive shots, that could be cool. Okay, makes that a bit more feasible. Deep freeze, we read. Typical anomaly, absorbing, okay, so that's all the healing specs, that could be nice. Balefire bolt, we read. Molten armor, okay, we know molten armor from every other version of the game. Could be quite useful. Displacement, teleport to the last cast blink and resets cooldown only visible. Blink is so overpowered in classic WoW. Stop giving them more shit. Oh my god, I cannot stand fighting a mage and then dodging everything. Like, stop. Increase the damage prevented by. Okay, yep, sweet. We knew that one already. Your Holy Light spell reduces the cast on your next Holy Light by the last 15 seconds. Okay, so you can stack that for quick heals. I don't think Paladin healers are known for big heals, lots of consistent ones, especially when you're down ranking, so that could work. Wrath, we read. Purifying power, reduces the cooldown of exorcism and Holy Wrath by 50%, and Holy Wrath can now be cast to all targets. Yeah. Okay. We have something not Art of War is not too different from that. So it doesn't really. I don't know, there's more onto that. I think they run out of ideas of exorcism. It was working fine as it is. The cooldown of Hammer of Wrath is reset each time. It is okay, cool, perfect. Divine Aegis, critical heals, create a shield on the target, absorbing 30% of the match. Okay, that's going to be some big shields. Great for PvE, overpowered for PvP. You can just tell. Void Zone on the target area that deals damage enemies. Standard. Okay, cool. Good. Like a Shadow Consecration, let's call that. Despair. Okay, critical strikes on dots, that's now going to be a thing. So if you come across a warlock and a priest in STV, you're fucked. Yep, we read that already. Combat, potentially, you can have a 20% chance to get 50 energy every time you do damage. I think that's the Burning Crusade talent already. Honor Among Thieves, focus attacks, you gain 2 energy every time you deal a major. Oh, okay. That could be good. Always low on energy, I could definitely use that. Pandemic, which is, I saw that, brilliant already. Conflict has a 30% chance. Okay, cool. Could do with some haste because a lot of their casts are long. Burn nearby enemies of damage every 2 seconds, reduce the mana take. Okay, sweet. That could be good. That could be really. I'm sure they have something like that already, and it gets rogues out stuff every time. Felguard, cool. Unstable Affliction. Yeah, ability that's used in pretty much everything post classic. Shield Mastery. All damage you deal extra 10% when you have a shield. Reduce the duration of disarm against you. Good, nice. Could be good PvE and PvP. Good for flag carriers. We need one of those. Focus your protective gaze on it. Okay, yep, seen that. They've got that in Wrath of the Lich King. Taste of Blood. Yep, we've seen that. Wrecking Crew. Your melee strikes. Melee critical strike enrages you. Increasing damage. Okay. Oh, that could be brilliant. Warriors definitely need a bit of love on this, and looks like they're getting it. Warrior goes on a rampage, increasing attack power. I thought this was Rampage that they have in retail, which has 4 big hits. Love it. One of my favourite abilities, and then Sword and Board. This is it for the new Sword of Day for P3, although for the page. Okay, perfect. So look, quick overview. Lots of strong things they're bringing in here, and I'm really glad that they've listened a lot. You know, if we look at the perfect spot on the Druid runes, you know, A lot of posts about druids complain. They talked about other classes being able to tank and to heal, and they made rogue tanks, they made warlock tanks. Brilliant. What about the tanks you already have that can't do it? Like your paladin tanks, they've done that. They've made prop more feasible for phase 2 and a lot more for phase 3. Druids are still sitting there rubbing their paws together, not got a clue what to do. This is definitely going to fix that. But really looking forward to a lot of these. Honor Among Thieves is going to be brilliant. Pandemic is going to be so powerful from Warlock. So many dots already. Taste for Blood, one of my favourite abilities to have. Gladiator Stance is going to be fun. I've been talking about that for ages. Yeah, keen to know what you guys are looking forward to. Mental Dexterity is going to be the first one to be nerfed. Watch it. I've said it here first. 26th of March, 8:30 at night in the UK. World first. That's definitely going to be nerfed before either release or within the first couple of days. The Shamans are one hitting already with Alpha, let alone anything else. But brilliant look, guys. Thanks for watching. I know it's been a long one, my longest one ever. But you know, a lot of cool things they're bringing in here. The Incursion could be really, really cool. The Nightmare. I'm looking forward to that. PvP sets. Definitely going to be pushing more for PvP. I don't think there's many people doing PvP at the moment because you're getting a lot of your reps from other things. Strangle from Veil, I think, is taking out the PvP from people when we know it's not like that. So I'm glad that they're bringing in those changes and making it more feasible in the long run. But let's been Azaro. Sign up to my channel, subscribe to it, please. I'm fairly new to the YouTube scene, but hitting a lot of views quite early, and I'm really happy for your interaction. Any like, comments, feedback, always going to be appreciated. Stay well, take care.